Are you a young soul looking out for saving up some money to build your future? I bet you are. However, there are certain liabilities you need to care for. Do you want to know about them to save your investments? Let me tell you some mistakes I made so you don't have to. Welcome to Wealthy Pace, the source of inspiration, education, and motivation for future billionaires. When I was in my 20s, I committed some poor decisions that affected my finances. Examine what I would do otherwise so that you might avoid my blunders. It's inevitable for people to make errors because we're only human. During the early teens and my 20s, I was personally responsible for a number of financially irresponsible acts. But I evolved from those experiences and am now making different decisions in my 30s than I did when I was in my 20s. I have a list of financial blunders that I did in my 20s that have cost me thousands of dollars, and some advice on how you might avoid making the same mistakes. Number 1. Overspending with credit cards. When I was younger, I fell into some poor habits with regard to my credit cards. Since I didn't have a spending limit, I'd spend whatever I considered to be within my financial means. I bought things that exceeded the amount of money that was available in my account, since I believed that I would have enough money to cover them by the moment the bill came due. Additionally, because I had a balance on my credit cards, I was subject to interest charges. On the plus side, I've never gone completely insane or even come close to maxing up any of my credit cards. Nevertheless, my excessive spending caused me to lose more money. I was able to achieve a better grasp of my credit card payments by making a few straightforward adjustments. I developed a spending plan. Rather than making educated guesses, I decided to start tracking my spending. In addition, I pledged to never spend more than the total amount due on my credit card statement. Number 2. Credit card interest. As I've mentioned before, a credit card may be a really helpful instrument. Some of them include rewarding schemes, such as cashback, rewards after purchasing groceries, or savings on travel, all of which can be quite useful. However, this is only the case if you clear your entire balance at the end of each month. The rates of interest on credit card payments can be extremely high, and if you don't pay off your total balance each month, it could be the beginning of a downhill cycle that leads to severe consumer credit that wrecks your income. If you had a loan of $3,000 and it was accruing interest with a rate of 18%, this would require you 18 and a half years to pay it off if you only made the minimum monthly payment. In addition to the initial debt of $3,000, I ended up paying roughly $4,000 in interest altogether. Why should we give additional money to credit card corporations when they already have enough? The only method to fix this problem is to make sure that you always clear out your whole debt at the end of each month. If it doesn't work, try placing your credit card in a block of ice to prevent use until the balance is paid in full. Another thing to keep an eye out for is yearly subscription costs. It's difficult to find justification for paying an annual charge of $20 to $100 only to hold a piece of plastic when there are numerous free credit cards available. Number 3. Delaying saving for retirement. If you've ever had the mindset that planning for your retirement is a matter for the future, consider the following. As youngsters, the future is ours to control, only if we make adequate preparations for it. Planning ahead, creating a spending plan, setting aside money, and making smart investments are all necessary steps on the road to achieving monetary autonomy. When it comes to making investments, the sooner you get started, the more time your cash has to accumulate and increase in value. If you keep your capital invested for a long enough period of time, the enchanted power of interest compounding will increase it for you. In a positive feedback loop of expansion, you will eventually receive interest on the money that you've already received as time passes. Regrettably, a significant number of young people have already missed out on the enchantment of interest compounding, as the annual Retirement Reality Report, published by 10x Investments, has demonstrated time and again. A sizable portion of those under the age of 35 who don't save for retirement mention a lack of urgency about the matter as the reason they haven't started. Since you are the only person who can choose the kind of retirement you will have, you should start making the required preparations as soon as possible in order to make sure that your golden years are genuinely golden. Set some targets for yourself and get the project started as soon as possible by making use of a free program like the pension savings tool that is available online. Number 4. Trying to keep up with the peers. Peer pressure makes it too easy for us young people to waste our money on luxury cars, food at high-end restaurants, as well as other nice-to-haves. In most cases, we act in this manner in the expectation that it will give others the impression that we are effective. But guys, let's get real. Nobody looks as great as actual success does, and blowing all of your money on impulsive buys is not going to get you any closer to achieving that success. The riskiest aspect of trying to keep up with the Joneses is the possibility that you will become to rely on your personal loans, store credit, and basic loans in order to finance your lifestyle. Next thing you notice, you're in a debt cycle from which it might take years to recover. Make an effort to live within your financial means. It is the most wonderful present you could possibly bestow upon yourself. One of the most significant benefits that we, as youngsters, enjoy is the luxury of having a lot of time on our hands. It's possible that we have the misconception that leading our good life precludes us from making the best judgments, but the reality is that we are capable of both. If we exercise better financial judgment now, we won't have to spend the rest of our lives filled with remorse later on. Number 5. Depending on my dad's money. When I was in my early 20s, I didn't have much faith in my ability to handle my finances responsibly. The thought of having my finances overseen by my father was quite appealing to me. After all, his investment portfolio was performing well. The question is why he couldn't achieve the same level of success with mine. Wrong. He made an attempt to time the market, which is something you must never accomplish in the first place. He liquidated my stock holdings in advance of the market meltdown that occurred in March of 2020, but he did not reinvest the money, but instead concentrated on options trading. I blew once-in-a-lifetime chance to make some money on the stock market. This was a really important education point for me. It's an easy way out to say, I don't know enough, and pass off responsibility for managing my funds to another person. My finances had reached a point where it was time for me to take charge and educate oneself about how to properly invest them. All of us are comfortable with different degrees of danger. My main priority was to ensure that I had a reliable stream of passive income. But because I'm still relatively young, I'm not afraid to try new things and I have plenty of time on my side. Number 6. Focusing on savings rather than investing. I remember contributing $500 to my brokerage account in order to take advantage of a campaign offering free stocks. And after that, I didn't touch the money for many years. I got into the investment game far later than I should have, and it cost me a lot of money. Rather, I prioritized building up a sizable bank account with a very negative interest rate of 0.18%. I made reducing my expenditures and maintaining a healthy emergency fund a priority, but I neglected to find ways to put my money to work for me. The idea that I had readily available funds in my savings account gave me peace of mind in the event of a sudden crisis. After all, I had to use some of my savings to pay for unforeseen expenses related to my car and to cover medical problems. After discussing my plan with prosperous individuals who were making astute financial bets, I realized that I needed to make a change. It took a lot of effort on my part to change the habit of having a conservative attitude. In the end, I had the proper level of discipline, but the incorrect approach to long-term planning. Millionaires don't wait for a rainy day to invest their money. They spread their wealth out among several different investments, and when they're prepared to make an important purchase like a home, they will begin moving their money around. That is all for today. Proceed to this video and learn more about savings money in your 20s or 30s, or as a college student. Thank you.